are many places on Earth that defy explanation, places where silence feels unnatural, where shadows move when no one's looking, and where an unshakable sense of unease clings to the air like an unseen fog. One of these places is in the deepest part of Japan. At the base of Mount Fuji lies one such place, a place both breathtaking and terrifying. Aokigahara, a dense and almost impenetrable forest, which holds more secrets than nature alone should. Some call it the Sea of Trees, while others call it something far more chilling. The Suicide Forest? Most people know this forest for its suicide tragedies, which has crossed the number of 100 and happens every year. But what if I told you that Aokigahara isn't just known for tragedy, that there are legends, ghostly encounters, and mysteries buried within its twisted branches? That those who enter often report hearing whispers, seeing strange figures, and feeling a pulling invisible force urging them deeper? Today we are going to explore the truth behind Aokigahara, the stories whispered among locals, and the reason this place is considered one of the most haunted forests in the world. Aokigahara is unlike any forest you've ever encountered. It isn't just quiet, it's unnaturally silent. The thick trees, their branches tangled together like skeletal fingers, swallow sound whole. Birds rarely sing here. The wind barely rustles through the leaves, and footsteps seem muted against the moss-covered floor. It's as if the forest itself is listening and waiting. Some say this eerie silence is due to the porous volcanic rock beneath the ground, absorbing noise like a sponge. Others believe it's something else entirely, a lingering presence, a force watching from beyond the trees. Hikers who dare to venture in often describe the same unsettling sensation like being watched, followed. Some even claim to hear footsteps behind them, only to turn and find nothing. Others recall hearing whispers, faint and indecipherable, as if the trees themselves are trying to speak. Japanese folklore is rich with stories of restless spirits known as eerie. Unlike ghosts in Western culture, eerie are more than just wandering souls. They are entities filled with emotion, grief, anger, sorrow, trapped between the living and the dead. And Sea of Trees, with its long tragic history, is believed to be filled with them. According to legend, those who enter the forest carrying deep sadness or uncertainty may never leave. The spirits lurking within are drawn to pain, feeding off despair. Some who have camped overnight report seeing pale figures drifting between the trees, their dark, hollow eyes watching from a distance. Others recall feeling a sudden chill, even on warm summer nights, as if something unseen had just brushed past them. There are tales of travelers encountering a woman in a white kimono, her face obscured by her long dark hair. She doesn't speak. She simply stands, staring, unmoving, and when they look away, she vanishes. Could these be lost souls, unable to find peace? Or is there something even darker lurking in Aokigahara? One of the strangest mysteries of Aokigahara is what happens to those who try to find their way out. Many hikers, aware of the forest's reputation, bring bright-colored tape to mark their path. It's a safety measure, a way to retrace their steps if they get lost. But there have been unsettling reports of these trail markers disappearing. Some claim their markers were removed or deliberately cut. Others say they followed their own markings only to find they led somewhere completely different from where they started. Could it be pranksters lurking in the shadows, playing tricks on unsuspecting travelers? Or something much more sinister, an unseen force that doesn't want them to leave? Another bizarre phenomenon reported by explorers is the strange behavior of compasses. Normally, a compass should always point north, but deep within Aokigahara, compasses have been known to spin wildly or stop working altogether. Scientists attribute this to the high levels of iron in the volcanic rock beneath the forest floor, which can interfere with magnetic fields. But then, why do some claim their GPS devices also fail? Why do electronics sometimes shut down for no reason? Some say it's the forest itself, alive, intelligent, unwilling to let outsiders map its secrets. If you walk far enough into this forest, you might stumble upon something even more unsettling than the silence. Abandoned tents, belongings scattered as if their owners planned to return, but never did. It's a sight that chills even the most experienced explorers. Who were these people? Why did they leave without their things? Some believe these remnants belong to lost travelers, unable to find their way out. Others suggest a far darker explanation, that something within the forest took them before they could escape. One local tells the story of a man who went searching for a missing friend in Aokigahara. He found the friend's tent, untouched, with food and supplies still inside, but the friend was nowhere to be seen. And the strangest part was, the tent looked freshly set up, as if the owner had just stepped away, yet no one had seen him for years. Many who enter the forest alone report the same terrifying experience hearing voices. These voices don't shout or scream, they whisper, murmurs in the wind, laughter that seems to come from nowhere. Some claim to hear their own name being called, only to find no one there. Skeptics argue that it's just the mind playing tricks, a mix of fear and the forest's eerie silence creating auditory hallucinations. But what if it's something else? What if these are the voices of those who never left, reaching out, calling others to join them? Perhaps the most terrifying accounts are those of shadowy figures, glimpsed just at the edge of vision. People describe seeing movement in the trees, shapes that dart between trunks, just out of focus. Some have even captured eerie figures in photographs, standing in the background where no one was before. One hiker, upon reviewing footage from his trip, found something chilling. A pair of glowing eyes watching from the darkness, disappearing the moment the camera turned toward them. He never saw anything while filming, so what was watching him? Aokigahara remains one of the most mysterious and unsettling places in the world. Whether it's the restless spirits, the unexplained voices, or the strange disappearance of those who enter, one thing is certain: this is no ordinary forest. Some believe it is cursed. Others see it as a place where the boundary between life and death is thin. But the real question is, would you dare to step inside? Would you walk those silent paths, knowing something might be watching from the shadows? Maybe the scariest part of Aokigahara isn't what we know, but what we don't.